guys, so today we're going to take a look at exploding targets. Now these targets are manufactured by Sure Shot, and they're actually the same targets that are used in the television show Sons of Guns. Now Sure Shot is a binary explosive, and what that means is there are two inert components that are mixed together to make an explosive. Now federal law allows for the use of these exploding targets because as they ship in two inert forms, two different chemicals that by themselves aren't explosive. Once you mix them together, they become an exploding target, and the bang is absolutely amazing. Let's take a closer look at these exploding targets. Okay guys, so let's talk about mixing this binary explosive. When you open up the Sure Shot, on the inside you're going to find some instructions, an oxidizer, and then this is the primary charge. It comes in a plastic bag. Now you're going to reuse this plastic canister as your target. Now it's very important that you remember to use this plastic canister that it ships with. Don't put this stuff into a glass jar or anything that could become a projectile, because this stuff explodes with great velocity. All right, so you get your plastic bag full of your primary stuff here, and then just want to go ahead and cut that open. And now I'm going to take this oxidizer and put that in this big bag. Now you want to mix this stuff evenly. So you're just going to knead it in the bag and mix it around. I'm going to twist the bag closed here, turn it upside down, and completely mix this stuff around. It's important that you completely mix it so that the entire thing turns completely gray, okay? You have to totally coat those white pellets with the gray, graphite-looking substance. And that is what it will look like once it's mixed. Now all you have to do is dump this into the target canister. Screw your cap on, and in this case we have 2 pounds of what is equivalent to high explosives. Now to set this stuff off, you have to hit it with a high-powered rifle. We do have some 22 Magnum targets out here which can be detonated by a 22 Magnum. We'll talk a little bit more about those later. The standard rifle target from Sure Shot requires that you hit it with a high-powered rifle, 223, 308, 7.62 by 39, something along those lines. Now this stuff is detonated by shock, the shock of the bullet hitting it. It's very sensitive to shock. However, hitting it, kicking it, shooting it with a handgun isn't going to set the stuff off. Okay, it has to be hit by a high-powered rifle. If you go out there and shoot it with a 22 or a 9mm, you're just going to waste your exploding target. It won't detonate. Let's take the stuff down range and hit it with a 223 and see just how big this 2-pound boom is. Okay guys, I quickly want to talk about safety. Now first of all, this is a high-order explosive. This is a very serious explosive. It's something like, but not equivalent to, C4. I mean, it's that big. It has a very powerful explosion. Now when you're shooting this stuff, you want to make sure you wear your ears and you want to wear your eyes. And also shoot it from a safe distance. Don't stand on top of this stuff and set it off. The concussion, the blast from this thing are impressive. Not only that, it can pick up secondary projectiles, pick up rocks, splinter wood, things like that, and throw it in all directions. And as I mentioned before, don't put this stuff in anything other than the canister it's meant to be detonated in, because this plastic won't hurt you. Now the stuff is not susceptible to a flame, so it's not going to burn and explode. And then as I mentioned, it's safe to hit it, whack it, hit it with a hammer, whatever. just when you shoot it with a high-powered rifle, that's when it explodes. Now, there are some questions about the legality of this in the 50 states. It's a federal law that controls high explosives, okay? Under federal law, you can mix up to 50 pounds of black powder, and the ATF views this as similar to black powder. Now, there was a Minnesota man back in 2008 that mixed up 100 pounds of a competing product and actually set that off in Minnesota. A nearby nuclear power plant, their sensors actually went off and prompted an alert. That got the police involved, and he was actually fined $2,500 for setting that off. Now, the man was on probation and wasn't allowed to have a firearm, so that's where he primarily got in trouble, but he also set off 100 pounds of it, which is technically against the law. So anyway, now that I've explained all that to you, let's run this target down to 100 yards, and we're going to shoot it with the H&K MR556 and see what happens. All right, this is a 2-pound charge of Sure Shot, and we got it set on the ground here at 100 yards. And one other thing I want to mention before we get back to the firing line and shoot at this thing, once you mix this stuff, it does become a high explosive. That means you can't transport it legally. Don't mix it and put it in your car and drive it to the range, because you will be in violation of federal law. All right, enough of the safety stuff. Let's head back to the 100-yard line, take a shot at this stuff, and see how big the boom is. All right, guys, look at that crater. That dirt was up to here. It dug it out. Here we actually have a piece of the plastic. Looks like it's probably the bottom of the canister. It dug this out pretty good. And you can see a little bit of the material, very little, those white pellets pounded into the side of the ground there. That's probably the stuff I didn't get the oxidizer on. So anyway, that was a heck of a boom. That's some fun stuff. Now that was 2 pounds. Let's see what a 1-pound charge does. All right, guys, that was the 1-pounder, and obviously it wasn't quite as big as the 2-pounder, but it was impressive nonetheless. Dug out a nice crater. We can see a little bit of the unburnt residue here, not very much of it. Again, nice crater, and it left that bottom piece again. Anyway, fun stuff. Let's head back to the firing line. All right, guys, here's the 1/2-pound rifle target. We're going to shoot it at 100 yards. I hope I can hit this little guy. I'm using the MR556A1 with Wolf ammunition. That Wolf ammo isn't exactly match ammo, but it'll be a testament to the MR556A1's accuracy if I can hit this guy. Let's go give it a shot. All right, so that was the 1/2-pounder. And it dug a nice little crater. We pushed it into the dirt a little bit, did a pretty good job digging in, and actually have a little bit of it left over here as well. You can actually see the Sure Shot sticker on the side of this fragment. Anyway, so it had a pretty good bang to it. The 1-pounder was obviously more powerful, and the 2-pounder was just absolutely incredible. But these little 1/2-pounders are a lot of fun. Okay, guys, now we have the Magnum Target. Now, this is actually made so it will be set off by a .22 long rifle. Now, unlike the full-size rifle target, this is more shock sensitive. Now, they also the manufacturer warns that you should not be around an open flame when you mix this stuff. While it's supposed to be non-flammable, it can be ignited by flame. It's also more shock sensitive, obviously, because the smaller cartridge will set it off. And it's also safe to shoot at 25 yards. So we're gonna mix this stuff up. I brought along a Winchester .22 rifle. We're gonna see how big the boom is on this. They say that this stuff is even more explosive than the full-size rifle targets. We have our 22 target. We're going to set it here on this stump. Going to head back to the Jeep, which is about 25 yards away, and we'll hit it with a little Winchester Model 94 22 long rifle. Whoa! All right, guys, that explosion you just saw was one of these little 22 targets that is detonated by a 22 long rifle. This is the rifle we use to set that target off, just shooting regular Remington 22 long rifle rounds. That thing is even more powerful than one of these 1-pound rifle targets that we just shot. These things are very impressive. That's a heck of a boom. All right, guys, some final thoughts on these Sure Shot rifle targets. These things are a lot of fun. And we picked these up from our friends over at Atlantic Firearms. That's AtlanticFirearms.com. Now, what we had out here today was the sample pack. And the sample pack came with 2 of these half-pounders, 2 of the 1-pounders, 2 of the 2-pounders, and then 2 of the 22 Magnum targets, which we shot all of those. Those were entirely too much fun. I don't have one here to show you. All of that for $75. Now, you can also pick up a case of 20 of these half-pounders for $83. Also, you can buy a 10-pound bulk pack for $60. Again, you can find that at AtlanticFirearms.com. Guys, this stuff is fun. It's safe if you handle it properly and follow the simple rules. Follow the instructions, and any questions that you might have, you can actually go to the Sure Shot website, which we'll put the URL down below, and they have a fact section there. This is the same stuff they use on the Sons of Guns TV show. All those great explosions, all that pyrotechnics stuff that you see on that television show, that's all Sure Shot. This stuff is fun, safe, and relatively affordable. If you have any questions about Sure Shot, feel free to ask those questions on our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/military arms. As always, everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon.